When you think about game-changing characters in Dokkan Battle, you probably think of units like LR Beast Gohan, LR UI Goku, STR Super Gogeta way back from the first anniversary, and you kind of think about what they do and their impact on the overall meta and just the way that the game shifted moving forward. And when you look at a character like Beast Gohan, you can surely see how crazy that this guy was, right? Everything that he was doing, the guard, the damage reduction, the taunt ability, the key support, the ability to get guaranteed crits, the defense raising, the offensive raising, right? The taunt mechanic, the action break that he has on the unit super attack, the links that he shares with this, other things, the categories that he leads, right? This is a character who embodies like every mechanic that the game has made and is broken, right? But we would not be able to use these mechanics and know how broken they are if it weren't for characters that came between or before them, right? So in today's video, I aim to talk about the most, not infamous unit in Dokkan history, but one of the most influential and game-changing characters that this game has ever released. He sort of changed how a specific mechanic worked forever, right? Because the way he came out, they got very, very afraid of this mechanic, right? And I'm sure because you saw the thumbnail, you know what it's going to be. But before we get to the grand prize of the video, let's look at some characters that have specific mechanics that we don't really see anymore. And the first character I want to look at for this specific video is going to be Tech Caulifla. Now, Tech Caulifla, this is not a character that offensively or defensively brings really anything to the table. Defensively, she does have something. We'll get into that in a minute. But this character brings evasion to the table. That is what they do. They don't have high offensive numbers, they don't have defensive numbers, but they have a very, very specific role that when you have it, it is the best like defensive mechanic you could possibly have. The only counter to this unit defensively is to take away what they do defensively. So the only thing that this character cannot withstand against a specific type of enemy is going to be the disabling of dodge. And where did this go wrong? If we pull up the pre-EZA version of this character, and hell, even the SSR of this character has this, evades enemy attack, including super attack, when there is a Universe Survival Saga or Pure Saiyans category enemy. So that means if a character is under either one of these categories, or both, they cannot touch them. You cannot hit them. They will never take damage ever, right? It's literally impossible to inflict damage to this character unless there is a dodge disabling effect. And not many fights, especially at the time when this character came out, you would be able to think about like the legendary Goku event, the last phase, the GT Goku event last phase, and then like the Vegeta event last phase. Those were like notorious dodge disablers. But the God event, which is like, where this character really gets her bread buttered, right, is going to be where like this character shines, right? Defensively, this is objectively speaking the best defensive character in the God event. And why am I talking about this, right? Why am I going on a tangent about this character? This character was so broken that they just don't do this anymore, right? Like UI Goku has 100% dodge on his first turn, but it doesn't stay for the whole fight, right? The AGL UI Goku EZA, it's not like I said, it's not the whole fight, right? This is like, it's permanent. There's no the only debuff is they take away dodging. Then this character, they don't do this anymore, right? We don't see just guaranteed dodging against certain enemies, right? We have dodge chance, but not guaranteed. So that is one character that is very game-changing. Now, let's go ahead and move on to another character that I think was pretty game-changing in the way that they designed him, and that is going to be Tech God Goku. Now, this character, it's very simple, right? Damage received minus 77% when there is a movie bosses category enemy, right? Now, most of the time with these characters, you don't really stay at 80% damage reduction anymore, right? We'll round that up a little bit. And now, most of the time when these characters have really high damage reduction, it tends to go down, or it's limited to rainbow orbs, right? They don't just spawn in with 77% damage reduction like this character does. So for like the movie bosses red zone from the 7-year anniversary, this was like one of the best defensive characters in the game. You ran this guy next to the LR gods and everything was fine. Anytime you fight like a pure Saiyan, this guy, or like a movie boss, especially a movie boss before he EZA'd, this character was a must run because in slot 1, you just could not take damage with him. So this character, I think, was really game-changing in the way that they dropped him. But now that we've gotten the long intro out of the way, let's get into the character who really changed the game forever. And that was Tech Ultimate Gohan, our boy Tech Ultimate Gohan. Now, Tech Ultimate Gohan, this is a character who really just was way ahead of his time for when he dropped, right? This is a character that released about a month before the worldwide download celebration. I think it was I want to say, yeah, like, so this was the year that it was just like, it wasn't marked as a download celebration, right? In 2020, this character was released as like in 2020, it was just like a download celebration, right? It wasn't like a specific number, because the next year, I believe, is 350. So this character right here that you're looking at, before a major release, he came out and he just had the dumbest combination of things or mechanics for the time. And this character, this combination of two things that we're about to get into, made this character, like, he changed the way that a mechanic worked for the rest of time in this game, right? Where you guys can see right here, attack and defense plus 140%. That's it. No, I'm kidding. But guards all attacks. This was crazy, right? Just innate guard. There's nothing you can do to get rid of it, right? There's there's no, like, with a certain amount of characters on the team, or with a certain amount of category allies on the team, or against a certain enemy, right? Or it lasts for 4 turns when the intro buff goes away. It's just, you spawn in, you have guard, you shake it out, you know, firm handshakes, you don't lose it. But, you know, you might be saying, like, Vil, like, who cares, right? Like, this is, like, guard is, like, not that crazy. But A, yes it is, but B, it wasn't just the fact that this guy had guard and he broke the game. It was this right here. He greatly raised his attack and defense on the super attack. And so, if you guys don't know, when it says just like this, like raises attack and defense, greatly raises attack and defense, colossally, or massively raises attack and defense, excuse me, it does usually, like, in a typical kit, right? I don't know if, like, I could see, yeah, so, like, this is just an example, right? God Goku for 1 turn. So on the next turn, it goes away. Do you notice something with this guy, with this Gohan? It's not there. So that defensive number just continues to go up. So what did this guy do that made the game, like, how did he break the game, right? The ability to stack defense and continue to keep this guard without category restrictions, without it going away, just led to him being like this defensive ace that really did not age out until like 3 years later, right? I think, like, you really could start to see, like, okay, maybe he's not that guy anymore around like the 7-year anniversary. So almost like 2 years of, like, not even feeling like he aged one bit. And even during the 7-year anniversary, like, this character was fine, right? This is a character who had shooters, like, all the way up until the point where it was just impossible, right? Like, I think 8-year anniversary or so, like, it was really like, okay, this guy is, like, he's dead, right? But then they decided to easy A him. He was back. He was a god again. But why I'm making this video, and I just wanted to talk about it, something different, right? While we're in this kind of dry period. It's a little busy right now, but I know you guys don't really like event guides. So, with this, right, with this character, the way that he changed things forever with this game is just the guard mechanic. Now, I genuinely think, like, the way that the game was designed and characters that came out afterwards, like after this character, it really did kind of change the way that things work, right? So if we pull up Bond of Parent-Child, this is like one of the best examples I can give, right? We'll talk about 2 specific units and why, like, things happen like the way that they did, right? So Trunks and Vegeta, this will be a good example. This is a character who is, like, they can keep permanent guard, but this is a character who, you know, has to be in a certain slot. So it's like, where is it? It's guards all attacks for 5 turns when, you know, you have this, right? And then guards all attacks as the first attacker. So you keep the guard for 5 turns in any slot, but after the 5 turns, it goes to, you have to put them in slot 1, right? Which is not a huge deal, but you have to go out of your way to do something like that. If a character gets locked in slot 1 and you can't move this character to slot 1, they lose that guard, right? If we look at this Ultimate Gohan, I'm not even going to pull up the passive, right? The intro buff, it wears off. Eventually, the guard wears off. With this, with We Saiyans Have No Limits, the guard wears off, right? With UI Goku, the only way he gets it if he takes a hit, right? These 2 characters right here, their guard wears off after the first appearance, right? Like, you guys kind of get the idea. This Goku, if you're under a certain HP threshold, his guard is going to wear off, right? Like, it's not really anymore, like, it's just permanent, right? Like, a guard pretty much goes away on almost all major releases now. And that is because of the impact that this character had, right? Ultimate Gohan. This character was one of the most, like, generational, most well-designed EZAs that you could have, or not even EZAs, just well-designed TURs that you could have. And I think that the devs knew they made a mistake because, like, really, TURs just don't impact the meta like the way that they used to, right? This game has become very LR dominant, and characters like this Tech Ultimate Gohan are a nice sort of reminder of the past and what came to be with some of these old characters, and it's just a nice gem in a sea of, you know, what you can consider to be mid, right? But this was also a marking of a time where they did really well with TURs. So I think it is important to make videos like this to preserve that past and the legacy that kind of came from some of these characters. So let me know what you guys think. I think Ultimate Gohan really was one of the most game-changing units in Dokkan's history. But like I said, let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget to leave a like if you did enjoy today's different type of video. Subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next one.